Hello and welcome to this crochet tutorial on how to make this embossed flower handbag. This handbag has separate handles and can be lined if you choose to do so. The step-by-step instructions will help you to do this as well. So come join me as we make this handbag together. Come on, let's get started. The materials and the tools that we will be using to make this purse. First, I have some yarn from Luxe Craft called Buttercream. It is a size 6, super bulky, and it is 80% acrylic and 20% alpaca, which I believe is wool. I have a pair of purse handles. It comes in a set of 2. I have some fabric. We will not use a yard, but it doesn't hurt to buy more than what you need. The hook that I'm using is a size 8 millimeter. We will be using a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors. We will be using some sewing thread that will match the color of fabric that you have, and we will also be using hand sewing needles to sew the lining to the purse. This is the sample of what we were doing. I love this purple, and when I bought the skein of yarn, I thought that there was enough. I went back to the store and they had sold out. So I only have one side. I'm planning on doing black for the back side, so this will be a separate bag. But this is the idea of what we're going to do. And then to show you, the handles will fit up here. Pretty, isn't it? All right, let's get started. As I show in all of my videos, I like to work from the center of the skein and pull out. Luckily, this one had it readily available without having to dig for it. But if you notice, sometimes when you pull, you can see that even just that little gentle tug means that it's still kind of tight in the center of the skein. And sometimes you can pull and there'll be a knot on the inside, which I'm beginning to feel. Can you see that? So we want to help break that up. This is the reason why I encourage pulling out the skeins first from the center, or if you choose, you can go from the outside, but I like working from the center because you don't have this thing wobbling all over the place. So pull a generous amount out. Make sure you have no knots. And let's start with the magic circle. I'm going to bring the camera up closer. So before we start the magic circle, I would like for you to leave a little bit of tail, because we're going to need some of this to weave in for later to make sure that our magic circle doesn't come apart. So I have about 6 inches there. I'm going to wrap it over my hand. As you can see, we have like an X. Go under that loop, pull some up as if you were going to make a chain stitch, and then complete that chain stitch. I know there's others out there that can show it easier. Sometimes I feel cumbersome. All right, so we're going to start with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This counts as our first double crochet and chain 2 in between. So our next stitch is a double crochet. So place your finger on your loop, yarn over, into the center of that hole, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and chain 2. We need to do this repeat till we have a total of 6. So here we have 1, 2, let's make number 3, double crochet, chain 2. Continue that until you have the 6, and I'll meet you there. Please pause your video. So place your finger and thumb over that last double crochet and pull your tail until your tail is small. And then just bring it back behind. Do not cut it. We're going to come over here and we're going to count up 1, 2, 3 chains. We're going to place our hook into that chain and complete by making a slip stitch. And this completes our first row. So let's slip stitch to the center of that chain 2. And now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This will count as 1 double crochet plus a chain 1. And in the same space, double crochet, and this gives us like our V-stitch that we will need for the center of our petals. Chain 2, and this will take us to our next chain 2 space. We're going to skip this double crochet, and in this chain 2 space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 2, so we can go to the next chain 2 space, and we're going to do the double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next space. In between each one you'll want to chain 2. Please go ahead and do that. Pause your video, and when you're done, let's get started again. So to close our row off, we're going to count up 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into the top of that chain 3. And here's what we have so far. All right, so let's go ahead and chain 1, chain 2. Now we're going to do a double crochet over this chain from the previous row. It's going to be a front post double crochet, so if you need to take your work and fold it, or however you choose to do it, we're going to take our yarn over, go behind the post, bring up a loop, and complete a double crochet. Then we're going to do it one more time on the same post. So we will be doing 2 front post double crochets every time on a post. You notice that I did slide it up. You want to do that so that way it'll fit the way it's supposed to. On our chain 1, we're going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And so here's the second double crochet from that V-stitch. We're going to place 2 front post double crochets over that double crochet from the previous row. Okay, it looks a little bulky right now, but it'll all show out the way it's supposed to here pretty soon. Okay, let's chain 3. And to our next double crochet, let's go ahead and do the same thing we did before. 2 double crochet, front post double crochet I should say, over the previous double crochet, 3 double crochet over the chain 1, and then for the second double crochet in that same space, 2 front post double crochet. And chain 3. I'm going to encourage you to continue around. So we have our first double crochet where you place 2. On your chain 1, you will place 3. And on our second part of our double crochet, you will place 2 front posts, and then chain 3 in between. Continue that around until you get to the end, and I'll show you how to finish this row. So at the end of the row, don't forget to chain 3, and then you know where your chain from before is. We're going to skip all that because that's going to go behind our work. We're not going to see it. So I'd like for you to slip stitch into the top of that front post double crochet. Now let's chain 2. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go behind. So if you pick up both of the front post double crochets, you'll see there is an open pocket there. We're going to go ahead and place 2 front post double crochets through there, and it will come over the top right here. So we're going to go behind both, pull up a loop, and complete your first front post double crochet, slide it up, and complete your second one. All right, so you can see it's going to start showing the definition here. Let me pull out the one I've completed already, and you can see how it shows the definition right there. Okay. Now for this row, on our 3 double crochets from the previous row, our first one we're going to add 2 double crochets. We're going to have a total of 5 double crochets over the 3. This will help our little flower stem daisy looking thing to spread out a little. We're going to do 1 in the next one, and in that next one we're going to place 2. So we're going to do 2, 1, and 2. And here we are at our 2 front post double crochets. Now if you lift them up, you can see you can stick your finger in there. There's a big enough hole for it. So let's go ahead and do that. And do 2 front post double crochets. And you notice how I'm bringing them over the top. Okay, so you can see how our petal here is starting to take definition. All right. So have a look at that for just a second, and then we'll continue on. So moving on to our next petal, let's chain 3. All right, and here's our next 2 double crochets front post. Here's our opening. Let's do 2 front post double crochets there. There's 1 and 2. And here we have our 3 double crochet. You want 2 in the first one, 1 in the middle, and 2 in the next one. And so for our next set of 2 front post double crochets, we'll do our front post double crochet as well. And this completes our second petal. Chain 3. So if we look back, we see that we have 2 already. They'll be more defined as we get further along, but you can see the shaping taken already. So I'm going to show you one more time, and then I'm going to encourage you to finish the row. So here's, after our chain 3, we're going to 2 front post double crochets, okay. In our first double crochet, we're going to add 2 double crochets. We want 5 in this row, 1 in the middle, and 2 on the other one, on the end one here. And then we have our last of the left side of the petal, 2 front post double crochets. After this, we will chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to encourage you to do the last 3 of this row. And I'll see you when you get there. Please pause your video. Okay, so here we are at the end of the row. Looks like a bunch of little pie shells, huh? Okay, so we're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet, chain 2. Now what we're going to do here is almost the same thing. We're going to do 2 front post double crochets, okay. Now over the next 5 double crochets, we're just going to do 1 per double crochet from before. So we're going to do 5 double crochets here, one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're on to our 2 front post double crochets, chain 3. Now before you move on to the next one, we're going to take and place a single crochet on our chain 3 from the previous round. Chain 3. Then in the next front post double crochets, we're going to add our 2 front post double crochets. Okay, so you see that little difference that's going to start happening here? It's going to look nice. So here we have our 5 double crochets. Let's place those in there. And you can tell that we've already started into our repeat. Okay, double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have our 2 front post double crochet. You know, the nice thing about working with this acrylic alpaca yarn is it's super soft, but there's a lot of hair looking things coming out of it. No, I don't have a cat, but it looks like you have a cat here. But it's so soft. I can imagine what it feels like on your face. Anyway, so chain 3 and then single crochet onto the chain 3 and chain 3 again. So I'm going to encourage you to finish the rest of this row. We're going to do the 2 front post double crochets, 5 double crochets, 2 front post double crochets, chain 3, single crochet on the chain 3, and repeat it again. You're going to do that another 4 more times. I'll meet you there. Please pause your video. So you can see our little bag is starting to take shape here. We have 3 or 4 more rows to go. They're going to get easier, believe me. So let's go ahead and finish off this row. We're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet, chain 2, and then front post double crochet around the previous front post double crochet. Remember to do it twice. Okay, and on this one we're going to skip our first double crochet and we're going to double crochet in the second one. You'll see how it's starting to pull it over already. Double crochet in the next and double crochet in the next. We should just have 3 double crochets in this row. We're going to skip the next double crochet and go to our 2 double crochet and place 2 front post double crochet in there. Okay, chain 3. Now on the 2 chain 3s here, we're going to start adding more jumps to it. So on this first, on your right side, place a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet onto the next one, and chain 3. Then pull up your 2 front post double crochets and 2 front post double crochets on there. Okay, skip our first double crochet in the second, and in the next 2. Two front post double crochets over the last of the previous row, double crochets, front post, okay, and then chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, and then start your repeat again. Go ahead and do that around, and we're getting closer to being finished. Please pause your video. Now I've noticed that as you get further along, it can be confusing to the beginning and the ending of each row. Make sure you count your double crochets in between the 2 front post double crochets of each side. That's how you know. And also you got your chain 2 right here. That'll help you to identify it as well. So after your last single crochet and chain 3, let's slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet of the row of the 2 that we have here, and chain 2. Okay, now you're finding that the rows are getting a little easier, huh? Okay, so 2 more front post double crochets. You're going to like this row. The next one will even be funner. Okay, so we're going to, excuse me, skip the first double crochet, and the next one we'll just do 1 double crochet. And then skip the next, and we'll do the front post 2 times here. So you can see where we're starting to get our shape here. It's looking good, huh? All right, so chain 3, and onto that first chain 3, single crochet. This is kind of like pond jumping. 1, 2, 3, tap. Okay, so single crochet, skip that single crochet, and then single crochet onto the chain 3 of the previous row, chain 3, skip that single crochet, and single crochet on the next chain 3. So for this side you should have 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Chain 3. Remember to always chain 3 before you start onto your front post double crochets. Now we're going to front post double crochet 2 times, skip this one, 1 double crochet, and I think you've already gotten pretty much the hang of it, so I would encourage you to go ahead and finish your round. Do your 2 front post double crochets, and then chain 3, and 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Continue all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So at the end of the row, slip stitch into that top of that first single crochet, double crochet, and then chain 2. This will be our last row on this. It's a nice big size. We're gonna also kind of block it a little bit when it's done. So to make things a lot easier, we're going to do 1 front post double crochet as a cluster. So we're going to do 1 here, and then we're going to bring the other 2 over, yarn over and go through, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through all of them, and you'll see how that pulls it together and makes it into a point. Then we're going to chain 3 and do our single crochet across here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to show you how to do that front post double crochet cluster one more time. So let's get across our pond jumping here. 1, 2, 3 single crochet. Don't forget your chain 3. Okay, so let's do it another time. Okay, so pull up your 2 and do your front post double crochet, yarn over through 2 and stop. Yarn over, go to the next front post double crochet, under the 2 of them, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, you got the 3 loops on the hook, yarn over through all 3 of them, and that completes that point. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and then I will show you what you need to do next. Please pause your video. Now here we are back at the beginning. So where you will want to slip stitch is right there at the top of the front post double crochet cluster. And we're going to cut this and sit back and admire our work. Now I'm going to encourage you to pull this out a little bit, because sometimes those front post double crochets have a tendency of tightening up a lot of work. Okay, Then you can sit there and admire your work. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, now it's time to make a second one. Go ahead and make your second one. After you do that, show you how to put the liner in. Now, if you choose to use this as like a beach bag or something, you really won't need a liner. But if you choose to use this as a purse for during the summertime or just to put your things in, we need a liner. So I'm going to show you how to do that after we do our second one. Now, if you're choosing to put a liner in your bag, I'm going to show you real quick what we're going to do. We're going to take our right sides and fold them together, and then we're going to come back here, and you want to cut about 1 inch back. All the way around, so that way you will have plenty and no room for any kind of error. Oops, I have my, sorry, I have my camera right here in front of me. So this is what you want to do. Cut it about 1 inch or so bigger than what your bag is all the way around. Once you do that, I'll show you what to do next. So I brought my little bunny out, and here I have some pins. When we sewed the sides together, we're going to be stopping. You'll notice we have 1 and then the second single crochet, so we're going to be stopping there. So I'm going to place a pin here and a pin on the other side as well. Okay, now if you would like, you can also take a pencil and go around that and sew this all the way around. Now I'm going to be using a needle and thread, so I'm going to go ahead and sew this around, and then after we do that, we'll come back in and we will fold this end down so it'll be right here at the top of the bag, and then we'll take that other end and fold it in. My pin is in the way. So you'll have that end folded down as well. So go ahead and do that if you're choosing to put in a liner. If not, let's move on to the next step. And I will tell you that I will not have a liner in my next step. I'm just going to show you how to finish the bag. But at the end of the video, I will have the liner in the bag. So let's get started. Take your front and your back and make it so that both of the pieces of the design is aiming out, so the wrong sides are together. Let's get started there. Now before we move on to the final closing, we need to finish the magic circle in the center. So go ahead and thread your needle. We're going to come back in here. We're going to go around it one more time to make sure that our stitching here in the center doesn't lose any kind of support from that foundation. Okay, and then we're going to start to go through it again. Okay, then what I'd like for you to do is skip over one and then come back, because if you don't skip over one and you start to come back, your stitches could come back out. So this is one way that we're going to go ahead and weave it in. So I'm going to go over one, come back around. It doesn't have to be exact, but you just want to make sure that your bag will not fall apart in the future because of your magic circle not being properly completed. So you can see I've gone through it about 4 times already. And then cut it about 1/2 inch from the edge and you'll be fine. you want to do the same thing. Where's the one on the side here? To the one on the side, we're going to go ahead and weave it into the bag itself. Go ahead and do that to this one and your backing, and then we'll start crocheting on the sides. Alright, so here I have the right side of my back facing down and the right side of my front facing up. And you want to line up the edges here. Then we're going to put a slip knot on our hook, and I'm going to show you how to finish it. I'm going to be starting on the left side. Here you have your point. You have your first single crochet and your second single crochet. Insert the hook into the second single crochet on both pieces. May take a few minutes to go ahead and find your point and your first and second single crochet. Go ahead and do that, and while I'll do it, I'll bring my camera up closer. Please note that I do use a GoPro and it doesn't have automatic bringing up close things, so just a second. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a completed single crochet as our first stitch. We're going to chain one, and then we're going to single crochet into the chain 3 space. Chain one, and then single crochet into the single crochet. And make sure you pick up your one on the bottom so that you can find that one as well. Then chain one and into the chain 3 space, single crochet, chain one, and pick up the next single crochet. When you get to the point, you want to pick up the point as well. Okay? Go ahead and do that all the way around until you get, let's see, you're going to leave 2 open, and you will stop at the second single crochet from the top. Go ahead and do that all the way around, and we'll show you how to place the handles on. So as you can see here, I already got my lining sewn in, been a little busy, and got one handle sewn on as well. So let me show you how I sewed mine on. I brought it up here to the top where each one of these points were at. I got my needle threaded with double yarn. I came up through the center right here and went through here, and I left a tail. Okay, then I wrapped it around. And I'm going to do this twice. Okay, I'm going to make sure everything's nice and snug. Oops. You can see I have a few little yarns that are not the same length. You want to make sure that they are all the same length. And then I'm going to cut this here. I'm going to tie a square knot. Left over right, right over left. Then I will take these ends and weave them inside the bag. Okay, and if you have your lining sewn in there already, you can still weave them in there just by separating and bringing it down inside. Okay, so go ahead and do all of those, and I will show you my completed 100% done bag. And here we have our completed handbag. You can see we have a nice big enough opening. You can fit your cell phone, many things inside. perfect for a summer, just a walk, or you could use it as a beach bag. You know, it's big enough to put suntan lotion, camera, cell phone, whatever inside. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Come back again. I'd love to have you make something else might be of interest to you through crochet. I also do cooking videos. My name is Garnet. Thank you so much for being with me. Till next time. Bye-bye.